Hey, it's Nox. You're listening to the third episode of the Maybes. Well, a safe space for overthinkers and seekers of truth. Here we explore the thoughts the world is too scared to speak. Um, Today's episode is gonna be a little bit different because I didn't really write a script for it, so it's just gonna be a little bit of freestyle. And you tell me in the comments which version is better, the freestyle one or the scripted one. I have my Spotify account in front of me, trying to find ideas about what to talk about. But then I opened up a journal I wrote a while ago, which I called Overfilled. By the way, this content creating thing is actually harder than I thought it would be. I mean, we all think that content creating is the easiest job in the world and it pays well, etc., etc. But it's actually hard. I don't know. It's a full time job. Like it's not a job with limited time or effort. No, it's I don't know. It's kind of a lifestyle at this point. Not at my point, obviously. I'm just talking in general. The amount of videos you have to create, the amount of ideas. I mean, and the market is overfilled, just like my me and my journal. And so, yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to be a content creator. And like besides the actual content you creating, for example, in my case, the podcast, you have to create other types of videos like shorts on YouTube, TikToks, Reels, and obviously if you don't have the skills, it's pretty hard. I mean, yes, we have AI nowadays and you can use AI to create many stuff, but still, there are many challenges, especially for someone like me who doesn't know shit about editing or I don't know, like this whole content creating thing. I don't know a shit about, which is one of the main reasons I was like, let me start a podcast because I was like, yeah, it's time to learn new stuff. It's time to try something new, okay? And especially for someone like me who's obsessed about trying new stuff. Plus, as I said, I really like writing and I like yapping. So podcast is like calling for me, it's not an option at this point. It's a destiny. And so like during the last 3 years, I've always been like, to my friends, I gotta start a podcast. I gotta start a podcast, and I never did it because not because I was scared or anything. It's just laziness, really. I'm someone who's I don't know, like I don't even know how to describe myself because the only thing, or maybe one of the main traits I have that prevent me from doing so much in life is laziness, not fear, not well, with laziness comes being broke, obviously. So when you have these two, you pretty much don't do anything in life besides I don't know, scrolling and watching stuff and just going out to the market as a hangout with your friends. And so, yeah, I there was like one day and I was like, yeah, you gotta start a podcast. At this point, you have to do it. Like you have to try it at least. And actually, I put it on my bucket list and I mentioned this on my in my first episode. And so I wanted to check it off and so I started the podcast so I can, well, after a few years Whether this podcasting works out or not for me, like, still I'm gonna look back and say I started a podcast. Like, I don't know, it's just something cool to have done or to have as a memory. And so I was like, and as I said, I love writing, and so I had already many journals with the potential to be a podcast script. And so I used two of them already, and now it's not like I ran out of scripts, but you know, it's a journal at first, and so you gotta add so many sparkles here and there, and you gotta, modify a lot of things. And so, as I said, laziness prevents me from doing so much shit in life, and making this podcast work is one of them. I'm sorry, dear neurons. Um, Plus, I don't know, like I didn't know what vibe I'm gonna go for. Is it, as I said, the freestyle one, just open the record thing and just start yapping like I always do, or do it in a organized, professional way. And so the first two episodes were kind of professional as much as I could, as I tried. I tried my best. And you, dear neurons, are going to tell me which version is the best. This one, that I'm just yapping and saying whatever comes to mind, or the other ones. And another thing why you need a script is obviously English isn't my first language. And yes, I managed to have a decent amount of vocabulary in mind in English, but still, my English, as I said on my last episode, my English betrays me from time to time. Same as my voice. That's why I keep cutting, like stopping the recording so I can do and keep talking. My throat is kind of sick, and it's been like this over a year. And I actually went to a doctor, but well, the treatment he gave me wasn't really on point, and so yeah, whatever. And I was lazy again to go consult another doctor, and so here I am, still here with a scratchy voice. And I guess it's time to talk about the overfill thing. I wrote on my journal. Okay, I'm gonna read the journal and explain what was going on. I don't know why it took me so long to make the conscious decision and sit with my thoughts again. But here I am, and I'm only writing this because I have no more strength to keep me together. So instead of having a breakdown in front of people and no one understanding what's wrong with me, I decided that maybe it's time I stop avoiding my problems and confront everything, because this time it's not gonna be something resolved in one sitting. It's gonna take time to spill all the tea the same way it gathered. So basically, what happened is I hit that 20s crisis. I suddenly don't know who I am, what I think and what I feel, what I love and what I hate, what I'm scared of, what I'm comfortable in. But most importantly, is that I started questioning my rights and wrongs, my musts and my nevers, my boundaries, man. Like my boundaries, my limits, what are they? I'm suddenly a stranger to myself. Now that I'm putting this into words, I think the diagnosis is obvious. Identity crisis. On autoimmune disease. Oh wow. I don't know when this exactly started, but you know this type of illness, it grows inside you so quietly, even you don't know it's in you. But then it attacks you on a random Tuesday, leaving you with heartbreak and 1,000 question marks. And now I'm haunted by the same question every single day. Who am I and what do I want? I'm gonna stop here and explain a little bit further what's going on here. It was an exam season, and somehow every single exam season, I managed, or like my brain manages, to find something, or I don't know, some matter to just like obsess over and make it an issue. I don't know how that can be a good way for my brain to cope with the stress of exams, but whatever. Like, it literally happens every exam season. And so last year, during um well, like the end of it, I don't remember the month exactly, all of a sudden, that is why I was so shook. I could not even like open up my journal and start writing about it. Like, randomly, or at least that's how it felt. Maybe it was actually gathering and I wasn't conscious about it, but I just woke up one day not knowing who I am. Can you believe that? Because I don't. And by the way, I still don't know who I am, but I kind of, I don't know, got myself to find a way to manage this crisis a little bit more mindfully right now. But at first, when it started, when it appeared, like whatever, um, I didn't really know how to act or how to even react. Like, what's going on? And when I said it's like an autoimmune disease, I literally meant it because I felt like my soul and my mind was attacking me. Instead of defending me, it was attacking me. Like, every single day. Who are you? What do you want? Like, it was crazy. It truly was crazy. Now that I'm talking with you guys and I'm having flashbacks. Like, and the questions were so overwhelming and the answers seemed to be so far away from me. Like, it was getting so much heavy every single day. It was getting heavier and heavier, and me, my tiny little soul, I did not know how to what to do. Like, what am I supposed to do? I just woke up one day not knowing who I am. What do you mean? I am who I am. Like, what do you mean you don't know who are you? What do you mean? What do I want? I just want to have fun and be happy. Like, no, I started questioning everything: the universe, religion, my family, my rights. As I said, my rights and my wrongs. And it was scary. More than anything, it was scary. Not knowing who you are is truly one of the scariest feelings I've ever experienced. And now I'm serious, guys. I literally was like, and I'm telling you, it's mid exam season, mid stress, mid everything. Like, my brain suddenly decided that it was time to actually figure out the philosophy of life, the philosophy of me, who I am, who is this self, who is this creature, who is this being, who is this entity. And the questions never stopped. And what was scary about all of this is the questions revolved around matters that were kind of obvious and solid convictions. It wasn't about, oh, I don't like this friend anymore. I don't like this food anymore, or this thing, or I want to go abroad, or. No, it was about, do you think abortion should be legal? Do you think um you can live, I don't know, outside of your family rules? Do you think you can challenge who you like? I don't even know how to phrase those questions because they were floating on the surface of my brain. I don't know like how to put them into words, but yeah, it was scary. Like it was revolving around serious matters. Like as I said, things I'm gonna do or things I won't do. And for me, it was kind of already decided by my parents. I mean, I wasn't um purely obedient girl to my parents or to society in general. I've always been kind of, rebellious, etc. But to a certain point, you see, in general, I was ruled with, by my parents and society and whatever, the drill. But when I hit that 20 age, I suddenly decided that no, those roles were no longer, and it's not even because I was going to say they were no longer serving me, but no, it's not like that. It's not about what was serving me or what was not. Like, as I said, my brain just suddenly decided it was time to create my own law, my own book to follow. But everything that is in me was written by people before me, my parents, society, etc., etc. Let's not even talk about the gene, my ancestors, whatever, whatever. Who am I? What am I going to fill my book with? How am I supposed to make that call? How am I supposed to know what to write on that book? I'm just 20. I'm a 20-year-old baby. Like, what do you want? This is me talking to my brain, by the way. And obviously, I didn't know the answer to that. I just kept asking the same questions over and over and over and over and over until I was overfilled, as I named this journal. And I was scared, man, because I didn't know who to talk to. If I went to my parents and say those things that were going through my mind, they would probably be more scared and more worried that it'll make me have a panic, no, a heart attack, a full heart attack. And so I didn't know what to do, and I was just trying to focus on my exams. Like, I was just saying, Knox, please follow on your exams. Please, you don't. No, no, this is not the. Like, the sound. I do not have time for this. I do not have time for you. That was exactly me to my brain. And I thought that maybe when the exams are going to be finally over, I was going to be okay, but that was not the case. And the first thing I did after exams finished was dumping my best friend. Ouch. Yeah. I told you I was serious. I told you I wasn't playing around. I told you it was scary. Don't look at me like that. And so, why is the question, obviously. And I'm gonna talk about it, obviously. So, yeah, this girl, this whatever, I dumped my best friend. Yeah, never thought I'd say this. And see, I wouldn't even call myself a consistent person when it comes to friendships. I don't know if I should call myself or like consider myself an avoidant, but I don't know. For example, when I was a little bit younger, I whenever a chapter closes up in my life, for example, I'm gonna change the city or change the school or anything like that, I'm gonna cut off all the people I was friends with. Whether friends or not, I don't care. But they will no longer be a part of my life. You're gonna ask me why? I wouldn't know the answer. I don't know, but I kind of take that opening a new chapter thing too seriously. Listen, I analyze myself a lot. I analyze my behavior, my thoughts, everything. But this thing specifically, I truly don't know why I do that. Maybe because with every new beginning, I try to change myself, and if I keep the same people in my life, they won't really understand, and they will be like, oh, you changed, you, and I don't have the energy to bear all that crap. And so maybe that's why I dump them. I don't know. I truly don't know. Sometimes I manage to keep some of those friendships, but in general, I do cut off people. But still, even during those periods, I was always someone who looked for intimate connections, and I didn't, and like I wanted to bond with people. I've never been like, oh, it's just a friend, it's just a classmate, it's just what. No, I really took that thing, that best friend thing seriously, and I would always, whenever I have a best friend, I would always consider them my best friend for life and like my soulmates, etc., etc. But it's never the case, obviously. But see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not considering myself as a consistent person, but still I wasn't this detached too. And after that the mental state or whatever, like momentum I had, or the identity crisis I had, something changed in me, and yeah, whatever. My apathy towards her started on a random Tuesday. Again, I don't know what thing I have for Tuesdays, but we were hanging out and I started to open up about some DP topics with her that were related to my old feelings and issues from like childhood. And some of them were actually related to, the mental crisis I had, the questions, whatever, whatever. Obviously, the questions have a roots, even that are coming from my childhood, and so I had to go in there. But you see, this going and visiting old traumas, old whatever, it's prohibited in my book. Yeah, that is one of my weird ass rules. Because it never did me any good. I'm sorry I'm getting excited, but opening up about my past, not that I did anything, I have the most boring ass past in the history of human life, okay? But somehow it means so much to me because it shaped me and it made me the person I am today. So sorry. I am a bit of a drama queen. Yeah. And so here I am paying the price of breaking that rule. Never speak about the sad past. I'm not addressing this to you guys, but that's just me and what my brain says to me constantly. You can do whatever if speaking about the sad past or the happy past, I don't know, makes you feel better, then yeah, good. But to me, it just kind of, well, I'm gonna explain. So as I said, I am paying the price of breaking the rule. Never speak about the sad past, because once you open that door, you let out everything, everything, everything time had helped you forget. It kind of give those moments of fresh breath, and then they haunt you all over again. But my smart nervous system find a way to, for it to overcome this emerging ghost, blocking out my best friend. What a genius. My brain shut her down completely. Made her worse than an enemy, by the way. Made her a stranger. And that's on me. And so I suddenly, and obviously, listen to me. I'm not, yeah, I may be saying that these, like, both the mental, well, the identity crisis and me, dumping my best friend, as bad as it sounds. Maybe, as I said, for these that they happen kind of overnight and like randomly, but still, I kind of was seeing those two elements come in, and I can't understand why they happened, and blah blah blah. So yeah, don't get me wrong. And so my brain shut her down completely, and still, even though I kind of saw that coming, like kind of, I was shocked. Shocked. Like, as she can be, as shocked as she can be, because as I said, we didn't have an argument, or I don't know, she did me wrong or something. No, it was just another hangout like any other hangout. But uh it was the last one. Yeah. Um and besides me breaching my hidden law, which is don't talk about the past, obviously, as I said, there are other factors that created the growing space between us with time. Some of them, well, I'm gonna now improvise. I was reading from another journal, by the way. But first of all, we were growing up, okay? And as I said, me, I'm someone who's constantly changing, constantly. I don't know if I'm developing or not, but I do know for sure that I'm constantly shifting, okay? Like, I literally develop a new personality overnight or something. Obviously, this is me exaggerating. And so, well, as I said, our differences were growing bigger and bigger. One of the things that I didn't like about her is that she isn't as adventurous as I am. And let me explain. As I said on my previous episode, I guess, I don't know if it's the previous or the one before. I guess, yeah, the previous one, the weight of a touch. I talked about how picky I am with people and how I cannot be, under no circumstance, friends with someone who does not inspire me or who's not better than me at certain things that I value, etc., etc. And with this girl, it was the case. Um, I kind of didn't really admire her personality anymore. Um, she kind of started to appear in my eyes like that girl that just trying to please her parents, trying to be the good daughter, doesn't break the rules, doesn't have the courage to, I don't know, try new things, try quests, like side crazy quests here and there. Whereas me, I'm someone who breaches the law constantly, even my own laws. I just mentioned it. And I'm not proud of this. I don't know, but it's kind of a part of who I am. I don't like being handcuffed with rules and with um I don't know, like conditions to be loved or to be respected. Like, I don't know, to me that's fucking bullshit. I like to do things my own way. I like to improvise. Mistake or not, I'm gonna figure it out later and I'm gonna learn from that. Or at least that's what or who I'm trying to be. Because don't get me wrong, this is what I like to do, but in real life, I might not do that on a daily basis because me too, I'm still kind of scared of society and my parents and my family and all that. And so when I see someone who's like surrendering to the laws of society, it's not something I admire. And so I don't see kind of I don't see a future with the person, kind of. I don't know if you get me, guys. Like, that's the thing. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm right and she's wrong. No, I'm just saying that we're not compatible, let's say. We're not a match. Another thing is that she was. I feel really evil saying all these because they feel like not enough reasons for me to, you know, stop being best friends with my best friend. But I don't know. These reasons were my conclusion after analyzing why I did what I did. Because as I said, my brain just refused. I'm telling you, my mind refused to talk to her again, to see her again, to be friends with her again. And what am I supposed to do? I'm just I don't know. I'm just human too. Like, If my brain suddenly, like for example, like this is gonna be a silly one, but whatever. For example, sometimes you like some specific food your entire life. For example, me with sushi. My like sushi used to be my favorite thing on the planet. I would sell my kidney to have more sushi. I wouldn't, but whatever. I just used to love it, but suddenly one day it was not really my favorite thing, and I love other foods more than sushi. And there is something like that. Something just changes in your brain. I don't know what the fuck is that. Like some neuron gets killed. Or I don't know what happens, but just something changes, something shifts, and me as a whole person, I change. I guess I'm gonna stop here and make a part two for, like to unravel the other reasons why I broke up with my best friend, and mention all the other elements that, well, gave me company along this life crisis, or I don't know what to call it. Please tell me in the comments, have you ever experienced something like this? Tell me, please help me to, well, go through this. Give me advice, give me your own insight on what I have spilled over here. Just tell me everything. Let's chat. Yeah, let's just make this a free space, as I said, for overthinkers and seekers of truth. Dear neurons, thank you for listening. Stay tuned for part two, where, as I said, I'm gonna yap a little bit more. Um, Tell me again if you like the scripted version more or the freestyle one. Just tell me everything. My comment section is a free space for everything. The love, the hate, the madness, the wellness. I don't know, whatever you want. Spill it there. And yeah, that was me letting my thoughts about life and everything breathe for a moment. Thank you for being here and listening. Please tell me, as I said, what's your take about this in the comments. This was my Mind After Dark. See you in the next thought. Bye.